Hey everyone, first of all, sorry for my voice sounds a bit rough, I'm currently sick, and today we are covering the Abyssal Depths patch 6 balance changes. And before we get into the detail, I want to mention there is a mystery giveaway in this video. I will explain how to join later, so stick around and be tuned. These changes are still in testing and may shift before going live, but it's already clear some weapons are nerfed, some buffed, and the meta could shift in a big way. Let's go step by step through every major change and see what will happen in the end of the video. Arcane staffs. Magic shock range increased from 13 meter to 14. This is a very small buff in practice. Arcane still struggles in solo PvP because its main Q is at 7 meter compared to 18 meter for the most other range Qs like Frost, Fire, Bow, etc. That 1 meter makes Arcane consistently weaker than others at trading. In group fights, an extra meter might help with safer interrupts, but it won't suddenly bring Arcane into the metas. Bows. Enchanted Quiver for normal bow damage bonus when enemies are within 6 meter reduced from 235 to 220%. This is a directly weakness close range dueling power. Bow has been one of the strongest 1v1 weapons actually in corrupted, and this gives melee opponents more room to fight back. Multi-shot damage reduced from 127 to 116. No longer applies solo diminishing return. DR or diminishing return means that when the same effect like slow stun is applied repeatedly, its duration gets reduced each time, so you can chain stun someone and kill him easily. So the DPS on multi-shot has been extremely high for a Q ability, often revolving a W spell. Cutting damage helps balance it, while slow change keep it useful over a longer fight. So it's a nice balance in my opinion. Overall bow remaining powerful, but they now face real counterplay in melee range actually for normal bow and lose some oppressive pressure. The nerf Enchanted Quiver and multi-shot clearly reduce the strength of standard bow. However, the change to how slow apply also mean bow can still control space effectively. Taken together, bows are weaker in a raw dueling power, but they are far from unplayable and remaining a strong option in skill hands. Daggers. This gives Ghost Strike damage reduced from 159 to 153. This is a very light nerf, around 3 or 4%. I don't know. The skivers have dominated in 1v1 content since the release of the Mist, and this a small adjustment won't change that dominance. So it's more of a single that SBI know how strong they are. Expect Death Givers to remain S tier in the solo PvP. Yeah, it would not change the meta in my opinion. Quarterstaff. Infernal Staff combustion field duration increased from 1.25 seconds to 1.5 seconds. Small but meaningful buff. Infernal may now serve better as a kiting and counter tool against melee opponents. So Flamewalker Staff spontaneous combustion impact damage reduced from 200 to 189, and Flamewalker still combines mobility, brief immunity windows, and strong damage. This nerf towns is down slightly, but it remains a top mobility DPS option, so not a big change, but it's also a good balance for this weapon. Maybe, let's see what will happen in live server. Quarterstaffs. Frostbite change duration increased from 2.5 to 3 seconds. Nice. This make it easier to chain Qs and actually land the stun. It addresses complaints that the timing window was too tight. The risk here is the Frost is already very popular in Mists and solo contents, so this buff could push Frost into over-representation. Hammers. Hammer Groundbreaker range increased from 16 to 20 meter. This is a huge buff to its control potential. In group fights, this might make polehammer more valuable for engaging or pushing from behind. In solo play, thought such a long range CC can feel unfair and enabling overlay safe rat playstyle maybe. I don't know. Forge Hammer Giant Steps. Armor increased from 0.2 to 0.3. Magic resistance reduced from 0.35 to 0.3. This even out of resistance, making the ability less squid against a specific damage type. It's more of a rebalance than a straight buff. So let's see how it works in live server. I think that's a good rebalance. Quarterstaffs. Phantom Twin Blade. Phantom Twins casting no longer delete existing areas. So this allows more consistent zone denial. While damage doesn't stack, you can now layer multiple areas to control space. It's still expensive weapon, you know, but now at least a bit more viable for specialists. Shapeshifters. Rootbound Seedling Bloom remove plus 10% healing receive, added a plus 10% max and current HP. Not bad. This shifts it away from 5v5 synergy with burst healing and more towed large scale content. It might be more relevant in ZVZ. That time will tell, you know. So Steel Gaze. Serpent Gaze damage reduction reduced from 18% to 70% and added a healing reduction. Oh, that's huge. 70% healing reduction? This redefines Steel Gaze as an anti-healer too, especially against comp heavy group, maybe in small scales. You will see it more. Silivane Transformation. Team HP increase reduced from 10% to 8%. Small nerf to overall team durability. Not bad. Tether Sheath's cooldown increased from 15 seconds to 18 seconds. A major nerf. Shapeshifters reliable on their tether mobility to survive this 3 second. Increase will noticeably weaken them in solo and open world fights. Spears. Loaning Strike no longer applies a slow DR. It's ensure back-to-back slow keep their full effect. It's a small change, but it helps a spear feel smoother in chase and kiting scenarios. So it will makes a spear more powerful than before, maybe, but not too much. I think that's a good buff. Armors. Mistwalker Jacket, Mist Cloud, cooldown increased from 45 to 50 seconds. Mistwalker has been one of the strongest defensive armor used in everything, like 1v1 to ZVZ. For solo players, this extra 5 seconds likely won't feel a major nerf, since Mistwalker isn't a common in that low environment due to its cost. However, in group fights where Mistwalker has seen more consistent use, the increased cooldown could maybe have a real impact, either discouraging its use or changing how team fights play out. It's difficult to judge purely in theory, so we will have to see how it will perform once the patch goes live. Before we go into the final section on modes, let's take a quick look back at what has changed. Arcane, a slight buff but still weak. Regular bow feels weaker, but alternative like Bow of Baden remain strong, still viable in many 1v1s. Deathgivers barely touched, still top tier. Infernal buffed slightly, Flamewalker still strong. Frost easier stun, risk of overuse. Polehammer range buff is huge, Forge Hammer rebalanced. Quarterstaff strong zone control. Shapeshifter major nerf to mobility, shifts in group role. Mistwalker nerf cooldown, price remain the issue, and overall PvP sees relief from bow and dagger. New niches may open for fire and frost, and shapeshifters take the hardest hit in my opinion. Battle modes. Battle modes see sweeping adjustment, reduce movement speed, lower durability for lower tiers, and higher HP for expensive versions. Battle Reno speed cut from 40 to 20%, but HP buff. Chariot speed cut massively, HP adjusted. Behemoth high tier HP buff. Battle Eagle speed reduced, HP increase. These changes discourage a spam of low tier mounts, making high tier investment more rewarding. In ZVZ, this might lead to fewer throughway mounts and more strategic deployment. You can read more detail in the link that I mentioned in the description. Let's go for the small fixes. Serpent Gaze now correctly stun channeling targets. Assassin Shoe no longer deals 0 damage to mounts. Forge Bark no longer roots immune targets. For now, that's the state of patch 6 changes. It's still early days, and until this update hit the live server, we can't be sure what sticks. If you found this breakdown useful, drop a like and share your thought in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think about the balanced direction.